For once, the jar of dirt made it before the stream started. Well, welcome, jar of dirt. Well, dirt in a jar, jar of dirt. Welcome, guys, to the Monday Night Build Show. I'm your host, Ben Estrino. We build a lot of PCs here. So if you're new to the show, sit down, grab some snacks, enjoy the PC building. Ask questions. Feel free to ask questions. I'm always happy to answer. If it's questions regarding the build, questions regarding your PC, questions about maybe upgrades or consulting, whatever it might be, I'm here to help. So, we're going to do two builds tonight. Starting a little bit late. Hey, Steve, what's up? Watching a movie on the Shudder called The Church. I've actually never watched that movie before. Sounds interesting. We're going to be starting off with Ethan's build. So let's go ahead and drop down to a side view, because that's how I have the parts currently set up. So we're going to be starting off with Ethan's build. Ethan has been waiting for his build for quite some time now. We, like I said before, have fallen behind on the build schedule after the Fights LAN event, 2024 event, and then immediately after that, just getting annihilated with whatever bug this was that just took me out. Hey, what's up, some giant idiot? Welcome back to the build show, sir. Over on the Twitch. So we are a little bit behind on the build schedule, so if you are waiting for a build, it should be coming up here within the next day or so, if not today's stream, because we've got Ethan's and Maka's build today. And then I think Tuesday, tomorrow, we should have, or Wednesday, we should have another build stream. Good evening, folks, some giant idiot announces across all the platforms. So we're going to start off with Ethan's build. Ethan went ahead with the Phantom Storm gaming PC, which is over on the website if you're not familiar with it. It features the Sky 2 by Montech, which has the front and the side glass panels with the side intake for airflow, as well as bottom if you want to add some more fans. But we are going to be doing this build in white, and it is a pretty badass build out so far. So starting off, we're going to run through the build specs, and then we're going to start off with actually building it. Evening caught me ready to head out and pick up the kid. Oh, nice. But we'll be lurking. Thank you, sir. Welcome back to the build show, Army Vet. Welcome back to the build show. Maka, your build is going to be build number 2 tonight. And if I'm saying your name wrong, please correct me. I've actually, it's the first time I've ever seen the name before. I think it's Maka. Maybe it's Maka. I'm terrible with the English language to begin with, so I'm a genius with other things, but when it comes to the English language, I'm terrible. Watch. All right. So the Intel i9-12900K, which has 16 cores, 24 threads, has a 5.2 gigahertz max turbo, is the CPU that we're going with tonight. And of course, we are building with the Thermalrate LGA 1700 contact frame for the socket. You are saying it correct. Perfect. Just wanted to make sure. Sometimes I'm an idiot. All right, and then we are going to be putting this on an Asus Z790V Prime with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on it, which is an ATX motherboard by Asus. This bad boy here. And then we're going to be slapping 32 gigs of DDR5 6000 CL36 dual channel memory, which is my G.Skill Ripjaws S5 series. Storage is a 2TB M.2 NVMe Gen 4 SSD, supposed to be silicon power, but we ended up, again, as you guys recently know, or have seen, I've been using or swapping out those with the MP44 by Team Group, which is almost double the speed. So makes sense to do this SSD over the UD90 by Silicon Power, because the Silicon Power SSD is actually like $5 more than this one, and this one offers better speeds. So that's why I'm doing that. Getting the best bang that I can for the buck. The tower that we're going to be building in is the Montech Sky 2, which has that, again, the front and side glass panels. Really awesome looking case, and it's going to be in white. We do have a 850 watt 80 plus gold power supply in the back there, and we do have some white cables that we're going to be building with, sleeved cables that I threw in there. Normally this build kit does not include it, but I threw it in there because we saved a few dollars on the SSD and a couple other things, and I was like, let's just throw these in there to make it look even more badass, right? The graphics card is an RTX 4060 Ti, 16 gigabyte GDDR6, 128-bit PCI 4.0. So with this build on the website, you are able to choose which graphics card you want for the build, as well as I think maybe a couple other things. But the graphics card selected for the build was the 4060 Ti, 16 gigabyte. So here we are, ready to build. Who's ready to start? Let's build it. The Church is a horror movie, Italian horror. Oh, I love those types of horror movies. Nice. So lots of piano and violins, I assume, with it being an Italian movie. Righto. We're gonna pop open this motherboard box. Get started with the motherboard, the CPU, the RAM, the SSD, the LGA 1700 contact frame. Getting all that done. Get that done. This build is going to Florida. All the way from Michigan to Florida. Quite the trip. There we are. All right, next up, excuse me. I still have a little bit of something going on, and it's all in my throat. Like I get a little dry throat very quickly, so catch me muting the mic, it's because I'm in the middle of a coughing fit. Comes and goes. But there ain't no rest for the wicked, and money does not grow on trees. We can get a nice zoom here on the next few steps here, which is the CPU, the SSD, and the 1700 bracket. Hunter, yes, I'm very excited. Hopefully it ships quickly. It will. So as soon as we finish this build tonight, it's going to go on the bench, and we're going to be running through Windows, BIOS updates, and all those lovely things we do in the background as well. So after the build is done, it probably won't ship until Wednesday. But as soon as it ships, it should be, I think, to Florida is about 3 to 4 days with UPS. So it should take about 4 days to get there. So if it goes out on Wednesday, you could possibly see it by Saturday. And if not, then Monday would be the latest. so we've got our CPU installed, and now we're going to drop the RAM, which is 32 gigs of DDR5, 6,000 megahertz in there. I can't believe the difference between FSR3 makes with your RX 6600. Went from 1080p gaming card to a 1440p card using it. Wow. Really that big of a difference? What kind of frames are you getting? And now our 2 terabyte M.2 NVMe by Team Group MP44. It's got up to 7,400 megabits read, and I think it's like 6,800 on the write. Excuse me. We need a stud. An M.2 stud. All right, that 2 terabyte M.2 is installed, so now we're ready to get the, we'll get the brackets out for the cooler. On high settings, 60 to 100 FPS? Dang! That's pretty impressive for an RX 6600 in 1440p. Pretty impressive. Oh no, it's a box. Yeah, that's pretty impressive for an RX 6600 in 1440p. Damn good. What are you feeding that RX 6600? Premium power? Get that case out now. It's case time. Beautiful. Oh, it's Sapphire Pulse, so yeah, it's definitely got a little bit of a kick to it. Extra. Those are probably some of the better cards in my opinion for the AMD's lineup. The Sapphires. Always slightly better. So occasionally on my PC, the Quantum Prime, one of the two lights next to the power button will blink red. I've only had it happen a couple of times, but it stays blinking until I restart the PC. I believe that blinking red light you are referring to is the hard drive activity light. So as soon as you turn it on and it starts blinking, it's just activity on the SSD. I believe what that little red light by the power button is. Happy April! Welcome, Dad Buds, to the build show. The CPU you're using, oh, that definitely helps. If it's a 5800X3D with the 6600, it definitely helps. Yes, sir. But still, it's a good combination. Here, especially when you put this in upside down. Good. The white and power sweater looks cool. Oh, thanks. It is available in the swag store. So if you go to the website and at the very top of the website you look for swag, click that. You can order your own white Empower hoodie. A couple different versions of it too. And then there's Empower pants as well. I haven't made the Empower boxers yet, but those are coming soon. And you can guess where the logo's going. Yeah, I guess I would say if you're a dirty type of guy, meaning, you know, you do a lot of work that picks up a lot of dirt, the white's probably not a good idea. If you're like me, where I just touch everything, and I've noticed the sleeves very quickly become dirty. White's never been a good thing for me. I always make white dirty really fast. I really don't think about what I'm touching and picking up. Things get dirty. Love the white. Thanks. Thank you. There's also mugs, pint glasses, all sorts of cool stuff in the store. Hey, how's it going? What's up, Dankus Rick? Welcome to the Build Show, sir. We be building. Naughty bracket thing. Nice ghost build. Thank you. Definitely a white build. I think we're gonna run through this one pretty quickly. We do have to rotate these fans just like always with thermal right cooler. Frozen note. Like normal. Oh, so many twist ties. The only thing I didn't think of is two minor things. What with this cooler? I think I've already dug my grave. Grave. Too late. Is what it is. I've been pretty good about it lately. I don't. Can you guys name like two things I should have done before I put this cooler in? That I didn't do yet? That I'm probably going to regret. I'm actually going to stop right here and make sure I can still get these in there. One, I forgot our CPU cables. Our splitter for our CPU fans. I also forgot our EPS cable. Or cables. And I think I can work around it. Put it in there. CPU cable, on the other hand, is a pain in the butt. And we have a pump. I think I feed through this thing. ApRiL. Just got to get it plugged in here as well. There we are. The EPS cables, I think I'll be able to make it work. Good night. Might be back a little later. It's good seeing you, dirt in a jar. Have a good night, sir. Damn it. Thank you, sir. Oh boy. Yep. Kind of how I thought this was going to go. This is why you do it before you put your radiator in. To learn from my mistakes. Hey, what's up, good sir? Monday is going well. PC is amazing. Awesome. I'm getting ranked multiplayer around 350 to 450 FPS. Holy shit. That's pretty good, right? I'm over here fighting with EPS cables because I was an idiot and didn't put them in first. But we're good, we're past it. Remind me not to do that again. Because that sucked. Right now I'm just doing the cable combs on the 24 pin. Then we'll drop a graphics card in here and do the GPU cable. Then the power supply, do a little bit of cable management on the backs, and we're ready to fire this thing up. We're not too far out here. Be within the next, I don't know, 15-ish minutes, 20-ish minutes, depending on how long it takes me to do the cable management. It'll take me a minute. Why is this cable being such a pain in the ass? There we go. Time for a graphics card. Also in white. Now this is the one component you will have to install when you receive the PC, because we ship these uninstalled as they get damaged if we don't do that, or they're at least more likely to get damaged. So clip this spot of the video, whatever it might be, reference the time on it. We're at 53 minutes. You won't have to do any of the peeling that I'm doing. That'll all be done. But you will have to physically drop the card into its slot. We've got two screws that you'll remove here. Once those are removed, you can drop the card into its slot, which you want to make sure this little plastic clip is dropped down. And then we just line up the gold teeth here with the very top silver slot. Look down into it as you're doing it, make sure it's lined up. Once it's lined up, push it in, you'll hear it click. Once it clicks, ready to go. And we put the two screws back in to secure the card. And as soon as you finish that, you would plug in your GPU power cable, which will be sitting here. It's going to be a white cable just like this. And it can only plug in one way. The clip would be facing up. I'm going to put some cable combs on this cable here. Not drop it down there, that was stupid. That's only for PCs we ship. If you're picking it up locally, we don't do that. Card already be installed because it's a local pickup. But if we're shipping it, and UPS is going to play kickball with it, then we got to take the card out. Looks easy enough. It is. Should take about 5 to 10 minutes. And you can always call me when you're doing it, and I can walk you through it. There's also going to be instructions that are going to be sent over to you as well, that you can follow. That keeps it so that the card doesn't get damaged during shipping, which 9 times out of 10 will happen. So it's better for us to ensure that the product is going to arrive in one piece and not be damaged than to add a few extra minutes of prep before you can fire it out. Be there in one piece, at least, without any internal damage. Alright, and with that being done, all we got to do is drop a power supply in here. Do some cable management. You'll have a couple extra cables as well. White cables if you ever go to upgrade that. Power supply time. I'm an idiot. Not insane, am I? I'm not insane. Fuck. Okay, Sagittap, that's on you. Giving me shit screws. That was kind of stupid. Pointless. A waste of time. Yeah, it's been a wild experience. Nice. Like, good or bad, wild? No regrets, always great. This is some serious cable professional. Yeah, I mean, if you're paying somebody to do it, this is how it should be done. Take pride in our cable management. I actually just flung half my zip ties across the room. Oops. There we go. How's that cable management for you? Minus whatever the hell this thing's doing. Is that clean enough? Maybe squeeze one more. Looks like mine. Great choice. Yes. Yeah, this is the Phantom Storm on the website. Oh. Great. Alright, are we ready to fire this bad boy up for the first time? Y'all ready for this one? I don't know why I plugged the Ethernet cable in. It doesn't matter. We're just trying to get to a post. Oh. Right. That side view. Yeah? Who's ready to see this thing fired up for the first time? Let's do it. All right. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. I'm just kidding. It's April Fool's Day. Damn, son. Where'd you find this? Don't worry, it's posting. It's got to go through its RAM memory training and fun stuff. Give it a second. That is a crisp build. It's so beautiful. You're beautiful. It's true. We just posted, so that means I built it right the first time. Great job, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. So pretty. Thank you, Maka. Yeah, I think Ethan will be very happy with this build. Hopefully, you know, in return for the build, he sends us some of that warm weather up here to Michigan. Put it in a box and ship it here. It's beautiful. It is very white. Definitely did a good job. I agree. All right. Snap a picture or two, and then we're going to move on to Maka's build. Do I recommend any monitors for the build? I would say a 1440p panel, and depending on how far away the screen is, would determine the size. But anywhere from a 27 to 32 inches, probably good. 1440p, one minimum of 144 hertz, and the higher you go on the hertz, the better. And then at minimum, a 1 millisecond response time. Be the recommendation for the monitor. All right, let's go ahead and shut this bad boy down, and we're going to move on to Maka's build. I'm not even going to take a break. Excuse me. Not even going to take a break. We're just going to move on to the next build. So. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome, sir. Finally, we got there. All right, so Maka has reached out to us to do a build because she wanted to stream and game on the PC. We had a pretty good budget to start with. We ended up with this, which is the Ryzen 7 5700X 8-core CPU with 16 threads and a 4.6 gigahertz max boost. And ideally for streaming, you really want a minimum of the 8 cores and 16 threads. So this will get us right at that point where the CPU is enough to stream with and game with at the same time. We are going to be cooling the CPU with a Peerless Assassin by Thermalbright, which has got two 120 millimeter PWM addressable RGB fans, as well as 6 heat pipes on it. So it is an air cooler. This is a cooler that I always recommend when it comes to, the 8-core CPUs. Has really good TDP on it, which will handle the heat created by this bigger CPU. We're going to be mounting that to an MSI B550M Pro VDH Wi-Fi series motherboard by MSI. And then we have 32 gigs of DDR4, 3200 megahertz CL16. And again, when you're streaming, ideally you want at least 32 gigs of RAM, because gaming in general will use up almost all 16 gigs if you start with 16 nowadays anyway. AAA titles like Call of Duty will definitely use almost full 16 gigs now, so it's ideally good to double your RAM if you're streaming, which is 32 gigs. And that's basically all you need. And once you start doing more and more with the stream, you can always add more RAM to the system. 1 terabyte M.2 NVMe SSD, so that's enough to install a couple of or a few games, and also have the streaming software and everything on there, as well as maybe have a couple of videos recorded. But I will say that's probably one of the first things that you'll probably want to upgrade down the road is the storage size. So either getting an external drive for those videos that you're capturing, or asking me and bringing the system back, and we can just add another or a bigger drive to the system. I believe this board has 2 slots on it, so we should be able to add another drive later down the road as well. And then there's always SATA drives that we can always add also, which are still going to be faster than USB. The graphics card, we're going to be running an RTX 3060, 12 gigs, and primarily when you're streaming, you want to make sure you get an NVIDIA graphics card because of the encoder and the decoder is just dominant when it comes to streaming, which is why we ended up going with the RTX 3060. And then, of course, if you're going with the 3060, make sure you go with the 12 gig because the 8 gig just doesn't make sense. It's almost the same price. I don't even know why they made the 8 gig card. people make the mistake and buy that thinking they're getting a 12 gig card because they weren't aware NVIDIA kind of silently launched the 8 gig version of the card. But this is a great card for, starting out with streaming and gaming. I always try to push people here to start with within the budget that we were working with. It's a great card to start with. Primarily, this is going to be 1080p. So for you, Maka, you're going to want to do, if you don't already have a 1080p monitor, if you have a 1440p monitor already, you can always run 1080p on it, which, doesn't matter. And to get more performance there, all you'd have to do is upgrade the graphics card later if you wanted to go 1440p, which is something you can always add on later or upgrade later. And then I also grabbed some sleeved cables for your build as well, which are the same white ones we just used in the other build. So it adds a little bit of flair to the build because we are doing a white theme again. And then we are powering the system with a Segitep GN650, so 650 watts. It is limiting on the upgrades later down the road, meaning we could probably go all the way up to a 3070, 4070, and that's probably the max card that we could put in the system with that power supply. But that will give you the upgrades, an upgrade, before you have to actually upgrade the power supply as well. But again, we were trying to get as much performance here for the budget, so for streaming. The case we're going to be building is the famous Montech Air 100 that I build here, or use a lot of, and it's just because it's a great case for the price. You really can't beat the price. It is a micro ATX case, so it's a little bit smaller, which is why we're running a micro ATX motherboard. But I mean, for what you're doing, I think it's more than enough space. So without further ado, let's get started. Finally, right? We're going to start out with the motherboard, the CPU, the RAM, the SSD, and the cooler, and then the power supply, graphics card case will come in as we need it. Come as you are. Anybody like Nirvana? I'll get you guys zoomed in here in a second. Let me pull this mic over here so you guys can maybe hear me. With this cooler, we don't even use these brackets, so I'm just going to remove them real quick. Get them out of our way. We'll get the CPU installed. So for AM4, the pins are on the CPU itself. They're not in the motherboard. There's pins in there, but it's more of a socket than a pin. So we're going to lift the hammer up, and then we'll be able to drop the CPU into the socket with all of its many, many pins. I don't know if you can... It's going to pick that up or not. Lots of pins. So always be careful when you're handling these CPUs because the pins are on the CPU. When we drop it in, there's a triangle on this end and a triangle on the board, and that kind of tells us what direction the CPU has to drop in. When it slots in, hammer goes down, now the CPU is secure. It's not going to go anywhere. So let's do the RAM really quick, which we're going to do A2 and B2 for our slots. Might have been the other way around. A2, B2. It's a Porky processor, it is. Yeah, you said Porky, I thought you said Pokey, and I'm like, kind of reminds me of my daughter. When she gives me a kiss because of my fuzz on my face. It says, you have a pokey face, Dad. She tells me I have to shave. But I bet if I shaved my beard off, it would scare the crap out of her. She's only ever known me with a beard. Alright, SSD time. So this is a 1 terabyte Gen, I think 3. Yeah, Gen 3 SSD. It's got about 3,500 megabits on the read-write. So it's a pretty snappy drive. I'm going to put it in the bottom one and save the Gen 4 slot for later at the top. And because it already has a heatsink built into this one, so it doesn't make sense to waste the heatsink here. And when the graphics card is covering this one, it'll be easier to add storage later. So the second slot on the top above the graphics card will be available if you want to add more storage later. Alright, and then next, we're going to get the... Oh, of course, you couldn't see what I was doing. I forgot we zoomed in right there. There. SSD 1, which is where we put the SSD. And then this is an empty slot right here, so you can always add storage there. No, I did not see the crazy field goal. I'm the type of person that doesn't pay attention to stuff anymore, because I'm so heads down focused and working on stuff. I don't get a lot of downtime to watch stuff. He made it twice! Holy shit! That's a long field goal. What's the record? Isn't it like 70-ish yards or something, like 70-something yards? I think is the record recorded. In a game. In an actual game. 66? Yeah, I thought it was close to 70. That's crazy. First, the other team called the time. Imagine being that guy. But then imagine that being that guy doing it a second time and just kind of doing the like, what's up? You know, as you walk off the field. But I do it twice. What you get for trying to ice me? Of course it was against the Lions. It's probably the only reason why I know that the record was around 70 yards. All the records get broken against the Lions. What do you think? Do you think we come back this year, we make the playoffs again, and we sneak into the... We sneak in? Not sneak in, but dominantly push our way in? Super Bowl with the Lions? How high would I be? How high would I be able to update my graphics card since my monitor alone is 1080p? You could run excuse me. You could run any card with 1080p, so that's not a problem. So you can do one or the other, you know, upgrade the graphics card and then upgrade a monitor later. Or, I mean, it's just that once you get into a higher end graphics card and you're still on 1080p, you're actually leaving performance on the table. Because your graphics card isn't being utilized fully, but so that's really what it comes down to, is your graphics card just starts becoming not fully utilized, which makes the upgrade not make sense. But once you go 1440p after you're played on 1080p, you'll never go back to 1080p. So be prepared for that. Green Bay has already been eliminated from this year's playoffs. Really? Why did Hart get himself... Or Love, I'm sorry. Love. Did Love get himself broken already? Did he break something? Yeah, 1440p is a lot easier on the eyes now. Super smooth. Nah, just picking the Green Bay, picking on the Green Bay fans. I don't know if we have any Green Bay fans in here right now. Do we? I don't think we do. I think most of everybody here is Lions fan. Ethan earlier might be a Miami Dolphins fan, but that's about it. All right, so these are the brackets that's going to hold the CPU cooler in place. This is our massive heatsink that we're going to mount to the CPU, so we had to get those brackets there. What I'm going to do is add some thermal paste to the CPU, and that's what transfers the heat off the CPU and onto this big nickel-plated copper block of metal, which transfers the heat to these heat pads, which transfers it up these fins, and the fans blow air across it, and it kind of acts like your car at that point, like a radiator, and cools it. So that's how the heat gets transferred off the CPU and then dissipated. And then gets pulled out of the case with the rear fan. The rear fan will pull the heat out of the case from there. And the hot spot on AMD is down here towards the bottom, so that's really the primary piece that you want to definitely make sure is pasted. So I always make sure I add a little bit of extra paste there. And then we want our letters here facing the same way as our RAM. That way it's aesthetically pleasing when somebody looks at it. We'll get one screw started. And the second one, these are spring loaded, so you kind of got to fight gravity a little bit until it bites, and then you can easily just screw it down evenly as evenly as possible until they're pretty much tight. There we are. That's good to go. We have our cooler mounted to our CPU. Now we just gotta add the fans to the cooler. Haha, I feel obligated to get 1440p now. Is 1080p that bad? No, not at all. Not at all. I actually played 1080p until just towards the end of last year. So it's not at all something you have to do. 1080p is still a great experience. It's just once you start playing on 1440p, you'll never go back to 1080p. Just the screen resolution changes you. And it's the same thing with 4K, which is even way more expensive to run. Once you start gaming on 4K, you probably will never go back to 1440p. It's just how it is. There's just that many more, whatchamacallit, on each of the frames. Pixels. There's that many more pixels on each frame. It just makes it more smooth. I mean, you've seen the difference between a, you know, HD TV versus a 4K TV and the smoothness of it. Now imagine that while you're gaming. You can't do it on a TV though. It has to be a gaming monitor. Those are just TVs that aren't fast enough. Yeah, they're smooth. Their response time is so slow. Does make a lot more sense. Awesome. I'm glad I'm educating someone. Alright, so we have the fan set up so that the air is going to come from the front of the computer and push the air to the back of the computer. So that is the direction of airflow we want for this. If we put one of the fans in backwards, it'll push hot air into hot air. We won't have a good temperature on our CPU. Fan number 2 is going in. Ah, crap. So there's that massive heatsink on that CPU. Look at that thing. I think that'll keep it cool. All right, so next up we got to get these plugged in real quick. And we'll throw some zip ties on here so that way we don't have to deal with it once it gets in the case. Because I have massive fingers and hands and they don't like to fit in tight places, such as the top of a case and this heatsink. So I'm going to get these zip tied before I go in there. Then we could get the case out, throw this board in there, making some real progress. Oh, I forgot we moved the angle. All right, so I'm going to set this aside. We're going to grab the case, get that out of the box. Yow! I'm getting zapped by static electricity. The styrofoam. Every time. It's electrifying. Dang it. All right, we just have to add 2 studs here, one here, and 1 here. Without these, the board would not ground properly. It's important to have all your studs in. Where are we at? 2 hour 44. We're doing pretty good. All right, and then we'll put our back IO shield in. And then drop our motherboard in. Confirm that we've lined up with all of our studs, which we do. I guess I need that big screwdriver for one more task. And then there is 8 screws that hold the board to the case. There we are. And because the graphics card's going to go in here, I'm going to pop these out really quick before we get much further. I already know they have to pop. Alright, and these cables we'll send to the back where they belong. Get to the back, you! That way we can make the front aesthetically clean. There we are. Starting to look like a PC. Yeah? Alright, so we've got a USB-C connection here, which I don't think we have USB-C on this one, but it is there. And we have USB 3 here. Front panel, rainbow connection, and our fan. Or we could go system fan here. Or here. Yeah. Wherever it wants to go. We'll go. And we've got USB 2.0, I think, as well on this one. So, that's what this big bundle of wire is on the back. All those plugged in. I think we're going to go system fan 2, which was right up here. I'm just going to undo this real quick. And this one. Send that through. Then we're going to send our HD audio through here. Our USB 2 or what? Yeah, 2.0 here. 3.0 will go here. Then we have a RGB1 RGB connection here, which syncs this hub to the motherboard. But that is going to go here as well as our front panel connectors. are these guys. We have power switch, HD LED, and power LEDs. Yippee-ki-yay. Let's flip it over. Now we just got to plug all this fun stuff into their respected locations. And we feed any of the extra cable back through to the backside for that aesthetically pleasing pact that we are stuck on. Front panel USB 2.0 and our HD audio ports all plugged in. There we go. All of our front panel stuff is all plugged in. I know I asked what you recommended, but what would be the highest resolution refresh rate I could get? I wouldn't go any higher than 1440p on a 1460 Ti. Oh, I'm sorry, 1460. I wouldn't go any higher than a 1440p with a RTX 4060 Ti, 16 gigabyte. Maybe, nah, I wouldn't. 1440p is maybe 4K, but that's with DLS 3.0 running. But that would be the highest screen resolution. The refresh the refresh rate would be minimum of 144 hertz, but you can go all the way up to 240 if you want on the refresh rate. That doesn't matter. Just don't go any lower than 144. And then for the response time, make sure that's no less than 1 millisecond response. All right. So now that that is done, let's put some of these cool-looking white cables in here. We've got an EPS cable, 24 pin, and a GPU cable. Then we'll drop a graphics card in here. Then we'll do some cable management, and then we'll fire it up. So it's a lot easier when you don't have a AIO. Build goes quicker. We're moving right along. Getting these cable cones in here. Oops. Looking pretty. Pretty awesome. All right. Some cable combs on the EPS cable, which is what's going to power the CPU. That 24 pin, the big one, that powers the motherboard. Which powers things like your USB ports, your PCIe slots, things like that. Yo. What else? Graphics card. It's graphics card time. Excuse me. Gotta peel the peels. Oh, that sucked. Pretty sure this is a peel. There's our RTX 3060 12GB graphics card. Looking fresh. ready to hit the battlefields. Looking dope. Looking good. Thank you. Thank you. Looking beyond the illusion. Thank you, sir. There we go. Let's drop a power supply into this bad boy. Oh. Yeah. Put the power supply down one. And then we'll plug everything else in. Cable manage. And we're firing this up. See what this one looks like. See how badass it is. I mean, we already know it's badass looking. See if Cedric screws me on the screws again. Here we go. Slide this bad boy in. Got to rearrange these connections a little bit. Looking good, looking gorgeous. Thank you, thank you. I don't know what to do with this one. This could be a problem all around. No. There's that scary cable management again. Nice work, though. Thank you. It's not as scary as you think it is, especially if you do it a few times a day. Pretty much just baked into your head like riding a bike. Kind of just know where everything goes just by looking at it. And then it just takes a little bit of patience to play with the cable here and there to get it the way you want it. And then it always helps, you know, that I've built in this case several times, so ow. Fuck, that hurt. And then you could just pinch yourself with your snaps, because you're an idiot. But I mean, my point is if you do it enough, kind of like baked into your head. Yeah, that really hurt. Got me good. Now the problem with this one is that it's a micro ATX build, so it's smaller. So it does give me a little bit less room to work with. So it's a little bit harder to kind of tuck the cables away in places because there's less room, typically. But it's okay. We'll get it nice and clean. So I won't have it any other way. We will have order in our builds. You can see it's tight. There's a lot of extra wire down here. And it's not because there's more wire, it's because there's less space. What do you think of that? Is that clean enough for you? Everything kind of makes sense, is mapped as it should be. If you ever pull on a wire, you'll be able to figure out where everything goes. We'll flip it over and verify nothing moved on us. Which it shouldn't have. Sometimes does. To readjust a couple of them. Definitely clean. Thank you. Yep, gotta fix this one. Everything else looks good. There we are. As clean as could be. Well, 2 out of 3 Detroit teams won today. So the Tigers won? Or no? The Red Wings probably lost. I'm going to guess the Red Wings lost. Tigers won. What else is there? Pistons? Wings won, Tigers won in the 10th. Oh, ho, ho, ho. So what is that? 3 straight or no? That's 4 straight. That's 4 straight games for the Tigers now, isn't it? Holy shit! All right. Hold on. We're in the middle of a moment. We're gonna get a side view here. All right. I never changed the name. Sorry, Micah. Let me fix that right now. I'm an idiot. Could have told me. Hey, Ben, the name didn't update. Come on, guys. I can't do everything here. All right. Are you ready to see it? On, powered on for the first time. Oops. Did not mean to just totally minimize the chat. Ready. Set. Go. Oh, yeah. Some giant idiot. What's up? Welcome. You've been lurking, haven't you? Let's see it. Cool as ice. Absolutely stunning. We're just waiting for a post. That's the... It looks cool, but does it post? Yeah. Oh. It's doing something. Maybe? Yay, we got a post. You're always here. Lurking. So we just made it to the BIOS. So we're good. Now we just got to load up Windows, do the drivers, do the battle tested phase, BIOS updates, which I think I already said. Set the XMP profile, fan curves, test it again, make sure it's cooling and performing where it should be. Then it'll be ready for pickup. So we'll probably have it ready for pickup by Wednesday. Just like the other one going out on Wednesday, this one will probably be ready for pickup on Wednesday. So, but if I do have it done earlier, I will let you know when it is ready for pickup so you know when to come get it. I'll message you or give you a call or shoot you an email letting you know. But yeah, it turned out real nice. And the RGB, all the lights are all going to be able to be managed by the MSI Mystic Light software. So once you get logged in, you'll be able to open up the software and adjust all the lights to whatever mode or color, or you could keep it on the rainbow mode. Very happy with it. Awesome. What we like to hear. Yeah, it's a pretty build. Yeah, this cooler just looks awesome, and it does a great job with keeping that CPU cool. So super happy we went with this build. I think it'll do you very good. It'll make me proud. But yeah, this thing's super easy to maintain as well. Like the front panel is magnetic, you can remove that and clean it. The glass panel is a magnetic door, so it's very easy to open up and gain access to that if you need to clean it. Dust filter on the bottom. There's an optional dust filter for the top, which you don't need to use. Wonder if I can sit a figure in there. Yes, you can. So you could probably put something here on this shelf right here in this area. Or maybe something skinny right here between the glass and the card, and that's about it. But yes, you could put some figures in there, and with it being a glass door, it'll be super easy to get in and out of there. You got to go back and look. Tigers won 5-0, but I saw it said 10 innings. Oh wow! So they scored all the runs in the top of the 10th. What a way to dump it on the White Sox. That was the White Sox, right? Or was yesterday the last game for the series between the White Sox and Tigers? I don't remember. I'm not following yet. I kind of followed. I followed because they won 2 games, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Mets today? Oh, nice. So they already swept Chicago. Nice. I didn't know if it was a 4-game or a 3-game series. It will be used to its heart content. Awesome. That's the idea. But all right. I am tired, so I'm going to call the stream today here, as we are. I'm going to hope everybody has a good rest of the evening. Let me know if anybody has any questions, but be on the lookout, Ethan and Maka, on your notifications regarding shipping, and Maka regarding the pickup, because I think yours is local pickup, right? Yes, local pickup. So we'll make sure you have that address and everything and let you know when it's ready. Have a good evening. It was so much fun. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Have a good one, Army Vet. Some giant idiot. Have a good night. Thank you all for hanging out. We'll see you next time. Probably on Wednesday. Peace. Let me see if I can actually find the end view. There we go. Have a good night, guys. That.